Hey, you got time for a beer? I know I do. Welcome to my show. My name's Jake. It's Thursday, which means I got a new beer for you. Actually, this one's super new. I just got it today. Don't forget, you can find me on Untapped, YouTube, and Twitter, all at tubajake_69, and on Instagram at tubajake_. Don't forget to tell me your stories. I like to hear them. Hopefully you do too, because I'm going to tell you stories, whether they're the same stories or they're different stories or the same stories with different parts in them. It just depends upon what stories they are. But I'll tell your stories too. So if you'll tell me a story, I'll tell everybody else one too. The beer I have for you today, not really so much a beer. This one's from Lagers Brewing Company. It's out of Shields, Michigan. That's Saginaw. Like Farmington Hills is in Detroit, kind of, but closer because Saginaw's not that big. It's a strawberry rhubarb hard seltzer, which is why it's sort of a beer. It's 4.9% ABV. This one was bottled on April 16th, 23, like the day before my birthday. Happy birthday to me. So I guess let's see what this looks like. Okay, so what I'm expecting, because it is a hard seltzer, I'm expecting it to be clear, because generally they are. It might be a little bit pink, because generally strawberries and rhubarb both show up as pink in whatever you put them in, like strawberry rhubarb pie, which is delicious, and I like it a lot. I do definitely have a story to tell you about rhubarb and or strawberries, depending upon how long this takes to drink. Uh-oh, that's not all gonna fit. Only an ounce or two. Okay, so very clear. I haven't seen this glass in a while, so it's probably a little dusty. No head retention on it because it's a seltzer. This is made to crush, and I probably can. What's it like? It tastes like the insides of a strawberry rhubarb pie. Really, seriously, that's what it tastes like. It's a lot of sugar, a little bit of sour, and then a lot of strawberry flavor. That's what it tastes like. If you've ever eaten rhubarb, because rhubarb is pretty much like straight up sour celery. Like, it tastes like absolutely nothing but sour. The closest fruit that I would bring that to would be an apple. Closest, but it's not the same, because pretty much it just straight up tastes like sour, which I'm not saying is bad, because I like straight up rhubarb, but you have to be careful about how much of that you eat, because it's not good for your insides. It will eat them. It's very high in acid, like very close to like a 4 or so, which is really high. It's not good for you. But also, like, the leaves can kill you, so there's that too. So just, be careful when you're eating rhubarb. But this is really nice. Very super crushable. It kind of has that little bit of calcium flavor that you get a lot from the Budweiser seltzers, or White Claw for that matter. I mean, it kind of tastes like that, but this is, I don't know, this is pretty local. Rhubarb, it's very, very middle of Michigan. I'll tell you why in a little bit here. Oh, man, it's so good. It tastes so good. It's going to be so easy to drink. Okay, so anyway, so stories, I've got two. So, when my grandfather was younger, he was one of the younger boys. What was there? He was one of the younger 3. There were the 3 older ones plus a sister. So one of 7, I think. I might be forgetting somebody. I hope I'm not. I don't remember for sure. But he was definitely one of the 3 younger boys. Bob, Pete, Jack. Those were all older boys. and then their sister that I can't remember her name right now, which sounds Harriet, I do believe. It sounds terrible that I don't remember, but there are a lot of them, and I didn't get to see much of them like Maynard. I know his name just because he would bring stuff around. I know who he was right up until he died. I'd like to say that he died in that big flood that they had up there around Midland, but he died before that. And then Grandpa's house was featured on the news all over the country, or his trailer that he had on the river was featured all over the country because it's impressive to see a house floating by. But yeah, that's the one on Sanford, from the Sanford Dam. That was his. But you know, that was the thing. But anyway, Grandpa, he was super proud of being able to grow rhubarb. When he was younger, like he'd transplant half the plants from over on this row into the other one, and then by the end of the summer, that would be a whole row too. He was super proud of that. From what I understand, in Michigan, it's not super difficult to grow rhubarb. You just have to make sure that it all grows, and then it will reproduce itself, which it did when he was growing it, which is great because he was super proud of that. Which, I mean, for real, look, I'd be happy for the guy too, because I don't know that I could do that. It takes time, and I don't have a lot of it. So that's nice. Very carbonated, for sure. Is there more to that? I'm trying to think. No, pretty much just that. He was super proud of being able to grow rhubarb. Which, I mean, he grew a lot of other stuff too. He was pretty good at growing corn because grandma would like take the corn off the cob and freeze that, and we'd have that, which was nice. I know he grew potatoes because I remember seeing him harvesting potatoes. I know he grew squashes, pumpkins. I had a big green pumpkin from him. It looked like a big green pumpkin. Maybe it was just a big green squash. I don't know for sure, but it was big and it looked like a pumpkin, and I was super proud of it. Like a 3-foot pumpkin. It's nice. But it was green. It was not orange in October when I was supposed to get it. So I got a big green pumpkin, which was cool. I got to do a big green scary face on it, and it was nice. Not nearly the best pumpkin that I've made, because I think the puking pumpkin is probably the best one that I've made. I've done it more than once, but they are very interesting. Because you just do like a big open hole for the mouth, and you put some eyes in, like the squinting, and then, you know, little nose holes, because you got to have some place for the rest of that junk to come out. And then you scrape off everything out, and you leave it in there. And then when you get it where you want it, you scrape everything out and let it lie. And it looks like the pumpkin is puking, and it's really funny. Yeah, so anyway, second story that this reminds me of is strawberries. My sister lives in California on the Central Coast, which they grow a lot of produce there. Like a lot. But she went out there one time and they had strawberries. Actually, I've been out there before and they've had strawberries. And, oh, they're so good. They're so big. So big. She was like, yeah. I went out to visit Ron's parents, and they had strawberries. And the strawberries that they had there were ones as big as my fist. And I was like, you know, Mary, that would be super impressive if your fist was my size. But your fist is about half of that. She has very small hands. She's not small, but she has very small hands. So yeah, there's that one too. I like being on the Central Coast. It's great there. The weather is beautiful. I mean, it's like here when it's nice out, but like all the time. Like when it gets sort of junky weather here, it's going to be like sort of junky would be like 60s and rainy. there, when it's 60s and rainy, it's wintertime, and that's the worst time of the year. I am not disappointed in 60 and rainy. Not at all. It's beautiful, especially if it's like 20 and snowing in Michigan. Which it does at the same time, both places. Not 20 and snowing there, but like 60 and rainy, and then 20 and snowing. Anyway, I have a quote for you. This one is from Jackie Robinson. He's a baseball player, if you needed to know that. He said, "I'm not concerned with your liking or disliking me. All I ask is that you respect me as a human being." Now, I relate to that, and that I work in retail. And please, treat your retail workers like human beings. They're doing what they can for you. Just treat them like they're actual people, because they are. We're out there. We live our everyday lives, and we make it so that you can make it. So, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. You can find me on Untapped YouTube and Twitter, all at tubajake_69, and on Instagram at tubajake_. Don't forget to tell me your stories. I like to hear them. Hopefully you do too, because I'm going to tell stories. They may be my stories. They may be somebody else's stories. They may be circular stories. They may be stories that you've heard before. But I'm going to keep telling them because I like telling stories, and that's how drinking goes, right? Anyway, I'll see you next time when you got time for a beer.